You know, for the past 8 or 9 years, I can't think of too many other series, well, maybe Call of Duty, that has been dissected and disrespected as the WWE 2K series. See, at least with the NBA 2K series, the only criticism people really have is, oh, they make the same game every year. Yeah, whatever. Same thing with COD, but maybe a little extra. With the WWE 2K games, though, it's bad. They're like, yo, they make the same game every year. This shit's trash. It's glitchy. What the fuck? The gameplay sucks. What is this? Folks stay comparing him to his older brother, SmackDown vs. Raw, talking about, yo, these ain't as good as the SmackDown vs. Raw games. SmackDown vs. Raw had creativity. What the hell? What's this? It's the same shit. Like, I think after 2K14 is when I first started noticing it, because everybody loved 2K14, but between 15 and 20, them shits got it bad. Hell, 20 was so bad, they had to take a break for a year to release a new one 2 years later. Like, they skipped 2K21 and just jumped to 2K22 because they wanted more time to work on their material. Which, in my opinion, is a smart thing to do. That's how you should do it. I don't really like the whole every year release thing because it gives the creators and the developers less times to get, creative. Anyway, they took the year off and released WWE 2K22. Man, they took a complete fucking 180 compared to 20. 2K22 was fun as hell. The gameplay system was completely changed. There was less glitches and bugs compared to 20. Rey Mysterio's showcase was an interesting story told. They used to do Road to WrestleMania, SmackDown vs. Raw, and whatever the fuck, Attitude Era for WWE 13, WrestleMania 14, but they've been doing showcases throughout the 2K series, and I think the Rey Mysterio one was a good choice. WWE 2K22 completely changed the 2K series, because the following year, after releasing 2K22, they did the exact same thing, but better, in my opinion, with WWE 2K23. WWE 2K23 is a wrestling game released on March 14th, 2023, and is the next installment of the 2K22 engine, whatever the fuck they used. Now, the reason why I'm using 2K23 instead of 2K22, despite 22 introducing the new gameplay mechanics, is I feel like 23 did them better. Its stage designs, customizations, online mechanics, and even the roster themselves, I feel like 23 is basically 22 but with advancements. Now, first we're gonna start like this. The Showcase mode, which is basically this game's equivalent to a story mode. Now, other than the Stone Cold Showcase in 2016, I was never really a fan of Showcase mode. I think it was in 15 and then 17 and 18, but for the most part after 16 and before 22, the main thing they've been using as a quote-unquote story mode is Universe mode, which is basically like the video game version of the shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, pay-per-views, but simulated. The Showcase for 23, however, follows the story and career of John Cena. From 2002 all the way to 2018, we follow John Cena's best and worst moments as a WWE superstar. Whether it's his debut against Kurt Angle, or going up against Triple H at Night of Champions, or going up against Undertaker at WrestleMania, we see some of his finest moments. Now, his showcase is kind of weird because it's between 2002 to 2018, but it's not in order. Like, the very first match of his showcase was him versus Rob Van Dam at One Night Stand 2006, ECW. That was 2006. And then the match after that was his debut against Kurt Angle, which was in 2002. And then after that, it was him versus Undertaker at Vengeance. That's 2003. So I'm like, all right, cool. Now they're going in order. But then after that, they jump 15 years later to him versus Undertaker again in 2015. Then they bounce back to 2008 against Triple H in Night of Champions. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not organized. I feel like this story should have been told in order. In my opinion, I think it would have done better if it was told in order, because now you get to see the progression. It's like in this one minute you're WWE champion John Cena defending your title. Then you go to your debut where he was basically a nobody. Then you jump to 2018 where he's this world-renowned superstar. And then you go back to the early... It's weird. I think they should have kept it in order. Order aside, I loved this showcase. Y'all already know, John Cena was my favorite wrestler as a kid. Any kid growing up in the early 2000s, it was either John Cena, Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, or Edge. For me, it was Cena. So being able to see his career told through not only his narration, but being able to play through it in a game was mad fun. And the funny thing about this one was how in character it was for him. Quick spoiler alert. Each match, this entire showcase is just John getting his ass beat. Every single match in his showcase is him losing against his opponent. Rather than playing as John himself and going through these different scenarios, you're playing as his opponent at the time. And I didn't realize it right until the Night of Champions one, where I went up against Triple H for the WWE Championship, and I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, Night of Champions 2008, didn't he lose that one? Is this whole thing just him getting his ass beat? And it was. And I think that's kind of cool because, number one, even though it is fun playing as John, I would rather be able to play as a collection of different superstars throughout the showcase rather than just one throughout the whole thing. Granted, you're technically facing the same guy every single time, but at least you're doing it with a different set of characters. And each match unlocks something new. The first one unlocks ECW's One Night Stand along with Rob Van Dam. The other one, the one against him and Edge, it unlocks New Year's Revolution, I'm sorry. And then the Edge from that year along with Lita. Different unlockables for different sets of time. But in order for you to unlock them, you can't just win. You have to match the historical events. Which leads me to my favorite part about the showcase. The cutscenes in the historical events. What they do is they mix the in-game cutscene after you hit a historical event and they match it with the actual footage from the time. And the transition is pretty smooth. Like, for example, his match with Edge in SummerSlam. When he gets him to the corner and he starts throwing blows, the transition between the game and the footage. It's not cheesy, it's not choppy, it's extremely accurate. Now, certain faces, logos, and signs are censored for some reason, I don't know. Now, the difference between this one and 22, and I think this is where it kind of lacks, is there's no narration. And by that, I mean narration between the footage. See, when Ray would go into the footage scenes, he would narrate them. John doesn't do that. The only time he narrates is to open up the match and then after. While Ray, we got to hear his different opinions throughout each match that we got with every footage. John, we didn't get that. I don't know why they took out the narration. I don't know if people complained about it in Ray's one or what, but we just didn't have that. It was still fun to look at the footage though. John Cena's showcase mode was fun as hell. I got to relive matches and moments I got to see as a kid. I got to live through moments I didn't see as well, 2002 and 2003. I wish they added matches from 04 and 07, but if the whole point of the showcase was him showing how every match he went through, even though he lost, he never gave up, I don't think they should have added 07, because I can't think of a single match he lost in 2007. Like, I think that's where the whole Super Cena shit came from. I don't think he lost at all whatsoever in 2007. So maybe not adding anything in 07 was smart, but maybe 04. We also got to unlock Super Cena. There's this character in the game called Super Cena that you unlock after you complete the entire showcase, and then you have to beat him in a match by playing as one of the characters you played at throughout the showcase. It kept me hooked, it kept me entertained, and I liked it. Now you're finna get into the gameplay. Now the gameplay is my favorite aspect of this game. Y'all already know the reason why I love 2K14, other than it being a great game, was the gameplay. It was so fast paced and destructive. It reminded me a lot of Here Comes the Pain, or the early SmackDown vs. Raw games before 2008. This one kind of did the same thing. Not as fast, but still, it was a lot more fast paced than the later 2K games before 22 and after 15. There's combo moves now. You got the square circle combo, square X circle combo, square X circle combo. Different combo moves you can use for each characters, and they all vary. They're never the same. The grappling is also an improvement. So they brought back the whole grappling system from, it was introduced in SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, and I think it stayed till 10 or no, it stayed till 9. So basically you can lift up your opponent, slam him through tables, slam him through ladders, do a fireman's carry, a power bomb, whatever. Now there's a weight system, so you can't just lift up anybody, but you can switch it to like arcade mode or simulation mode if you want to switch the weight detection. And the way the gameplay and the grappling system matches with the game modes is so much fucking fun. For example, with Extreme Rules matches, there's this option where you can bridge ladders. You put one end of a ladder on the ring and another end on an announce table or a barricade. You can slam your opponents through them. If you're in a ring, you can throw your opponent over the top rope. But if you do like a power bomb, or if there's a ladder in front of you, you can slam him through a table from the outside or slam him through a ladder. It's fun as shit. Let's say you're playing as Rob Van Dam and you take your opponent, you throw him over the rope, you put him on the ladder bridge, and you go on top of, like, I don't know, a ladder or the top rope, and you do a 5-star frog splash. You can slam them through the ladder. The shit collapses. And the outcome looks realistic. Now, realism in video games can be a problem because, hey, it's a video game. You don't have to be too fucking ideal. But if you do it just right, it comes out perfect. And that's what this did. You can fight outside in the crowd. There's corners in the crowd area that have like tables, chairs, announce desks, whatever the fuck. Kind of like, SmackDown vs. Raw 2008 and 7. You can fight out there. The fighting mechanics isn't as fluid in the crowd area as it is in the ring area, but it's still fluid enough to enjoy. I wish they kind of kept the whole OMG moments from like WWE 13 and 2K14. I know they're still there kinda, I just don't know how to fucking use them. They were easier to use in 14 and 13, but you can still kinda use them. Like, you can slam an opponent through the barricade and the shit collapses. You can't break the ring like the, 14 and 13, but still, the game's fun. There's not a single time where I looked at any of the game modes or the gameplay and I thought to myself, what the fuck, why would you do this? Or what the fuck, why didn't you add this? Wait, no, that's a lie. I wish they had Inferno matches and Buried Alive matches like they did in the old ones, but whatever, they don't do them anymore. The gameplay felt thought out and cared for. I loved the destructive nature of the Extreme Rules matches or the TLC modes. I don't see the purpose of having a no holds bar match. It's basically Extreme Rules, but like with extra steps, but other than that, it's fun. Now, something I didn't like about the gameplay though, the reversal system. Now, as I've played it more, I've gotten used to it. How it works is it's no longer RT, right? What you do is you need to match the button prompt of whatever button your opponent picks. Now, technically it's triangle. Whenever your opponent initiates an attack, it's always triangle that you have to press to block it. But if they hit that move on you before you pick triangle, there is no blocking after or reversal. If they hit square, you have to hit square. If they're about to hit X, you have to hit X. If they hit circle, you hit circle. And that's fine, but the issue is the button doesn't prompt up. You have to guess. I call it the rock, paper, scissors method. You don't know what your opponent's about to do, but you have to guess what they do before they do it for you to properly reverse. It's confusing. I wish they had an option to turn on button prompts when that happens, but I guess it adds to the difficulty, so I'll accept it. The entrances are spot fucking on. Whether it's the lights, the people themselves, or the crowds. The crowds really help make these entrances. I've noticed that the crowd reactions in this one is a lot more realistic than any other WWE game I've played. From the chants, to the mixture of cheering and booing depending on who you're playing, to the entrance music. Like, you can hear the entrance music echoing around the arena and the different voices in the crowds. It makes you feel like you're actually there watching it happen. I'm not gonna lie, some of the character models don't exactly look ideal compared to their real life counterparts, but fuck it, it is what it is. It doesn't bother me that much to the point where I can't enjoy the game or the entrances. Like, look at Drew McIntyre's entrance. Dog, that shit is stellar. The camera work is perfect. From him showing up with the sword to planning the shit, and then the camera moves back and you just see him with the flames rising up with like a shadow over his body. It's perfect. The entrances in this one is probably the best they've ever been in any WWE game. The lighting on Triple H when he spits the water in the air and stares at the crowd is perfect. You can tell they really took their time with this game. Every single detail has been thought out and planned, and you can really appreciate it when you play it. I'll go so far as to say I think this is probably the best wrestling game I've played after 2K14. Between 15 and 23, all the 2K games between, I think this one is the best. And for people who will probably say, oh, but 22 did it first, I'm going to put it to you like this. This is the best way for me to describe the difference between 22 and 23. WWE 2K22 is the WWE 13 of the 2K series, and 23 is the 14 of the later series. By that I mean this: everything you love about 2K14, everything that you adored, they did it in 13, but 14 took it and did it better. Whether it was I don't know about the story mode, but the gameplay was sped up slightly, the moves were a lot more destructive, the roster somewhat expanded, everything was tweaked just so lightly to the point where even though you can't really tell too much of a difference between the two, you know that the difference is there and you know that the other one is better than the first. And that's how I see 2K23. Probably one of the best wrestling games I've played throughout the decade. And before I go, I want to talk about the creations. The customizations is fucking stellar. See, in the customizations for earlier games, it's really like, oh, okay, this is your attire, you get to change the color palettes, this, that, the third. This one, you're changing whole attires. If you want to play as, I don't know, 2014, 2013 John Cena, but you want to dress him up as a combination between 2006 Cena and 2008, you can do that. Hell, if you want to make 2005 John Cena, see now they didn't have them in this game, you can do that. The community creations is the best it's ever been, man. Because of the community creations, I'm able to pick new attires and new arenas and new whatever the fucks for whatever character and for whatever show that I want to play. WrestleMania 39 is probably going to be in 2K24, right? 23 was 38. In the community creations, they recreated the WrestleMania 39. And you can play it like it was in 24 and 23. So rather than waiting for the next installment of the 2K games, you can just play WrestleMania 39 in this one. Hell, I even downloaded the old SmackDown and Raw maps from 2008 and 2009. Everything about this game took time and effort and love. That's what was missing from a lot of the 2K games after 15. It was love and effort. And honestly, I'm really excited to see what they do for 2K24. Now, before I go, there is one more thing I gotta add. This is not 2003 John Cena. This is 2005. I don't know why they use, because if you look at this if you look at this image, this is the Chain Gang chain, the jersey, all that is from SmackDown vs. Raw 2007 and 2006, but the picture itself is from 2007. He didn't start wearing that Chain Gang chain till like mid to late 2005. I don't know why they didn't use one from 2003, but whatever. Small thing, whatever. And that's all I really got to say about WWE 2K23. I really fucking enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoy it if y'all give it a chance. I know people say, oh, here comes the pain, 2K14 are the best in the series. I'm one of those people. I still think 2K14 can go head to head with 23. I just think within the past 10 years, this is probably the best one we've seen throughout the 2K series. And I think we should give it a chance. But hey, that's all I got for y'all, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'll see y'all in the next one, and I'm out.